FHS season tickets.
Welcome back to another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Nick.
And I'm Michael.
And today we're going to be giving you our playoff predictions, talking a little bit about playoffs, the NBA. We've been kind of shying away, looking forward to the future, but now the playoffs is here, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, we're really excited. Going to start off Eastern Conference, number one seeded, Boston Celtics, title favorite. No, I'm just kidding.
Seeded, bro.
But they're taking on the Chicago Bulls. I'm sure you have Boston winning, but how many games do you think it's going to take?
I can personally see the Boston Celtics maybe going 6 games at most. I think, obviously, Chicago Bulls aren't talented enough. But one thing about seeding, obviously LeBron said that he doesn't think it matters. But and I think that even though Chicago beat the Cavs 3 times in the regular season, I think that Chicago would have I'm just worried about Indiana's talent, but we'll get into that later when we preview Cleveland, Indiana. So I think seeding might honestly be a factor, especially like last year, the East, any team, even like the second seed down, I would have equally said that we could beat easily. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just like stuck on the Cavs regular season downs, even though I don't think it matters too much. But we'll get into that later. Boston in 5, maybe 6.
Yeah, I'm going to take Boston in 5 as well. Just think Chicago's lack of overall court spacing, which we've talked about, has been an issue all year. And
throw back to our old former co-host, Christian, who said that the Bulls were going to
it'd be like a top 4 seed.
Yeah.
Old takes exposed. Expose this man. But the next playoff series we're going to be previewing is the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Indiana Pacers. Nick, I know you're really excited for this Paul George, LeBron James matchup.
Ooh, well, yeah, I mean, we talked about it earlier. I'm not so sure excited because I am a Cavs fan. I'm excited to see playoff basketball back in Cleveland. I hope the boys are ready, but I think that the LeBron James Paul George matchup is going to be one of the biggest of the playoffs happening in the first round. Honestly, I remember Paul George back in the day.
Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and it's not like his injury was anything close to Derrick Rose. I think he almost has the same talent. It's just his team isn't as talented, and the NBA has gotten away from their style. Like their style back then wouldn't work, I don't think, in the NBA now. That Frank Vogel ran there, but I still think Paul George is as talented, and they got some fast point guards and some fast guards who are going to give us all sorts of trouble because our perimeter defense, watching their past couple of games, just the overall perimeter defense is awful. It's not even that we don't have big men, it's just because we cannot guard the perimeter. I know we have the talent and the guys to do it, like Shumpert if he gets back to 2015 form, which I don't know why he's not, and then J.R. Smith, who is said to be the best defender of the team, but we just need to clean up perimeter defense, and I think it's Cavs in 5.
Yeah, and we also just cut DeAndre Liggins, another guy who's playing some good perimeter defense for us.
Yeah, but that guy was a scrub.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of Cavs fans were mad when we did cut him.
I like Dante Jones more than Liggins, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I never really saw Liggins as a guy who was going to contribute for the Cavs. But next series is going to be Toronto versus Milwaukee. What do
you think the Cavs?
Cavs in 5 over the Indiana Pacers. But Toronto against Milwaukee, I'm going to buy into the Milwaukee hype and say this is a 7-game series with Toronto. Giannis is the first player ever, I do believe, to finish in the top 20 in the league in scoring, rebounding, assists, blocks, and steals, which is an incredible achievement for him. He also led his own team in blocks, scoring, steals, assists, rebounds. I said that in a really weird order, but it doesn't really matter. I think that he is the best player in the series by far, and I think that's going to be able to carry the Milwaukee Bucks to 7 games where eventually home court and the experience in the playoffs will make the Toronto Raptors advance to the next round. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, although I like the Milwaukee players like Giannis and Malcolm Brogdon,
Chris Middleton is slept on too.
Yeah, I think that this series goes 6 at most. I don't see in the playoffs, for the Milwaukee Bucks, they have to have each of the guys, their main guys like Middleton, especially Giannis and Brogdon. They have to perform at the top of their level each and every game. I don't see them sustaining that when in the playoffs the defense is going to The defense is going to ramp up. They're going to be strategizing for guys like that. They cannot keep that up 7 games, in my opinion. So I think this series goes 6 at most. Like you said, the playoff experience is going to come to fruition way closer than Game 7. It's going to be a 6-game series at best. Mike, what's the next one?
Next one is going to be Washington versus Atlanta, and I'm just going to call it right now, Washington in a sweep.
Wow.
I hate this Atlanta team. They have a really
Atlanta
bad
is-
point
Dang,
differential.
if that happens-
They always choke in the playoffs. Washington,
Choke. They
they're
don't choke.
sweeping.
They just get swept. Straight up swept.
That's choking.
I agree with that. But
They blew a 0-0 tie and lost 4-0, so.
again, I don't think Washington has the guys to pull off a sweep of that magnitude, like Mike's saying, but do think Washington's going to win. I'll say in 5, though. I'll be generous.
Okay, now we're going to go over to the next side, Western Conference. Golden State versus Portland. A lot of people are excited for this matchup. Some great guards in this series on both sides. Nick, I'll go to you first.
Golden State easily winning this one. I can't even see the Warriors dropping a game. I think it's going to be sweet.
I'm going to quote Damian Lillard. Blazers in... No, I'm just kidding. But that's another thing. Damian Lillard was asked if he thinks that they're going to win the series against
He
the
would say
Warriors.
no.
What do you want Lillard to say in that situation? Like, oh, yeah, I think we're going to lose to the Warriors.
Losing
Like,
6. We'll keep it close.
we'll
for a
maybe
couple-
bring it to a
be
7th
super
game, but then we'll
analytical,
lose. But no, for real, I think Golden State wins this in 5. I think Portland does get 1 game on their home floor, but nothing more than that. I wouldn't be worried at all if I was a Golden State fan. And now the next series is the annual, boring San Antonio Spurs versus Memphis Grizzlies series. This is going to be another sweep in my opinion. I do not think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be able to do anything, just like last year. I believe it was a 2 versus 7 matchup last year as well, and the Spurs did sweep them. Memphis did have a ton of injuries back then, but just like last season, they have been kind of struggling near the end of the year, so I'm going to take San Antonio in a sweep over Memphis. Nick, who do you have?
I'm actually going to push it more towards... I'm going to give them 5 games. I'm going to say it's a 5-game series. I don't think it's a sweep. I think that Memphis plays the right style enough. I don't think you can beat Memphis 4 times. I'll give them 1 on their home court.
Okay, fair enough. And on the next series?
Memphis, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 5-game series.
Next series, Houston versus Oklahoma City. The 2 major candidates for the MVP as far as most people are concerned. They believe that they will be the top 2 in the MVP race. Who do you think is going to win this series? Nick, I'll go to you first.
Man, do I love me some Russell Westbrook, but looking more and more at this roster is garbage, especially if you don't have guys like Steven Adams ever performing. You just have a mash of bigs that can do certain stuff, but overall they can't be the main big down there like they need it. They each have certain skills that don't come together too well. And then you just have Russell Westbrook, this maniac going off. But against James Harden, I honestly think almost those guys cancel each other out. And then it's just systems and roster building at this point. And I think that this is going to be, it could either be a blowout by Rockets or maybe the OKC could push it to 6. But I'm going to go in the middle there. I'm going to give it a 5-game series. I think the Rockets win this series in 5. I cannot see OKC doing anything.
I think Russell Westbrook has shown us this year to never count him out.
I'm not counting him out. I'm counting his porous roster that
Oklahoma City has a better roster than a lot of people give them credit for. They have guys like Enes Kanter, Steven Adams,
they just don't
Victor
fit too
Oladipo.
well.
They do not fit well at all. They have Victor Oladipo and Andre Roberson are their 2 wing guards, and those guys are worse shooters than me and
Roberson
you.
is the worst offensive player, at least guard, almost.
Who will play in the
I've
playoffs
ever
since
seen.
Tony Allen?
Even worse.
No,
this guy
he
cannot hit a
can't
free
be worse
throw.
than Tony Allen.
Tony Allen couldn't hit a free throw. Or could hit a free throw. Roberson has a 63%. And we talked about this earlier, talking about this with a friend. How Roberson's been in the league, 4 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
How do you not... So, defense, you obviously will work on, but you're not going to be working on that every time you pick up a basketball. You're working on your free throws and you're working on your shot. if he has that great of defense, which he does, that's why he's starting, then how has he not even developed a free throw yet? Like, this man's been working on it for at least, and I'm not, like, college, you have to be working on offensive skills, but at least in the NBA, he's been working on it religiously for, what, 3-4 years, and he still hasn't developed at least a free throw? It's 63%. It honestly baffles me. I don't know what he's doing in a gym. He's not doing defensive skills when he goes in there. He's not doing slides. Like, he might be a warm-up, but you either have defense or you don't. It's a lot of hustle, a lot of desire, and this guy has no offensive game. We're talking none. Like, he can't even dribble that well. He's all just fast break, just running down the court. It's insane. I don't know what he does in a gym. I don't understand. That's his job. What is he doing?
I love that.
Worst
Like, that was just,
worst offensive shooting guard in the league.
you just called that man out.
I am.
Whoa.
That's just like,
That's just that was wild. But let me tell you my prediction. I am not counting Russell Westbrook out, but I am having him go out in this round. I think it's 7-game series, though. I think Westbrook just goes off in the series, as will James Harden. But I do think that the Oklahoma City Thunder don't match up horribly to the Houston Rockets at the defensive end of the floor. I think they'll be able to slow down Houston's offense more than most teams will, which obviously will be Houston will still score like 100, 105 a game, and that would be a bad night for them.
yeah.
But I think that Oklahoma City will be able to push this to a 7-game series where Houston will prevail. Final series, LA Clippers versus Utah Jazz. I'm going to take the first upset here. I'm going to take the Utah Jazz to be the perennial chokers of LA Clippers in 6 games. I believe in this Utah Jazz team. I believe they are loaded across the board. They have a ton of guys who can do a lot of stuff. Our guy Nick Sharia loved him, and then Chris Axman loved him as well. I think that this Utah Jazz team is going to beat the LA Clippers. I don't think they'll do anything against Golden State in the next round if they happen to meet, but that's not the topic for today's video.
Yeah.
Today's video, first round predictions. I got Utah winning in a 6-game series. Nick, I'll go to you.
Man, is this Clippers team always been talented, always seem to choke? I mean, I could definitely see that happen. And you remind me, is Blake Griffin healthy?
I mean, yeah, but is Blake Griffin even good?
Yeah, I don't know what Blake Griffin has. Like, that dude just fell off the face of the earth. He was like the next superstar, and then something just clicked, something happened. But I mean, this Clippers team has always been talented. Their bench always with solid guys like J.J. Redick and Jamal Crawford, but they always seem to choke in the second round, and they never can make a Western Conference final with that stacked of a team. But so I don't know. I want to agree with Mike here, but I'm not going to agree with Mike today. I don't like agreeing with Mike too much, and if I think that a team is more talented than the other team, I'm going to go with that. Chris Paul, get us past the first round. Chris Paul, if you don't get past the first round with that team, then I'm going to put the blame on you. You're not making the Hall of Fame.
Wow, I'm like a big Chris Paul hater. Like,
Dude,
for
I
his
love
ability.
me some Chris Paul, but if he doesn't get past the first round with that, like, you have to put some responsibility on you with a Hall of Fame head coach, supposed to be a Hall of Famer, and then 2 athletic bigs, then like good rotation pieces. I don't know how they have made a Western Conference final yet. That is the biggest disappointment of NBA history.
I've been talking about how like Chris Paul isn't as great as everyone gives him credit for, but you're calling out him to. You're in a feisty. We got to end the video right now before you like call somebody else out.
Hey,
like,
who we got next? They're not safe.
It.
Oh, is that it? Okay, this is it. It's Chris Paul. If you don't get past the first round,
unless you want to rant about Eric Spoelstra and getting mad over the Nets resting their starters against the Bulls. You want to call out the Nets or Eric Spoelstra?
Dude, I don't even think that's a problem. Like, too bad you didn't win. You should have won one more game. I know they did really well down stretch going 30-11, but
they had the second worst record in the league after like 25 games.
That's just a topic for another day, I think. But Clippers, I'm going for a win. Don't let me down Chris Paul. If you do, putting all the blame on you and Doc Rivers for somehow being a Hall of Fame head coach with that porous record that they have had every year.
That will wrap it up for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also root for the Utah Jazz to beat the Los Angeles Clippers.